Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw tips and tricks, and somebody or a couple people through the last few months or whatever is at, or have asked me how I made my clocks, and I've made a few clocks. I think I've made more than 500 clocks, and I get all my clock parts from clockit.com. I buy them 100 at a time in a tray, and if you want to look at these numbers and so 205, the hands are free. $20 for the hangers, which aren't 100% necessary. The little black part has a hanger on it, but for 20 cents, it's well worth it. And there'll be a picture later in the video. But anyway, clocks are really good sellers, and I have a couple of videos out there on how to make a clock, and in a video on clocks I've made. If you want to watch, just search in YouTube. I was going to put the links, but it'd be easier just to search in YouTube Doug Green Corel Draw clocks, and they'll come up. Anyway, I start with 2 layers of MDF, and I cut them out, and there's a picture of them glued together. But I have the fortunate, so I glue them together, and I'm using weights. I'm having a little bit of computer problems tonight. I use weights to hold them down. So, a couple of things you need to do. You need to figure out what size clock you want. I make a 12-inch clock, and the back is 11 inches. And this is a brass tube that it just happens to fit the diameter of the clock part that sticks through the clock. So you're using it for an indexing when I'm gluing this together. So this is 2 pieces of 1/4-inch MDF that's been glued together. I put weights on it, and then so it's indexed so that hole will be true. And as you can see, there's the black of the laser burn. Now you do not have to take that off, but I have the good fortune to have a full woodworking shop, and I put on the lathe. This is actually a picture of me taking the outer part of the clock, the plywood, and taking off the burn. So those are 2 steps you really don't have to do. You could leave that little bit of burn, and you could leave that black. It's on the back of the clock. Nobody's going to see it, but I'm a little particular and just cleans it up, and it gives it a really good smooth edge. Now, you don't have to follow these 100%, but I tape down a piece of plywood that I'm going to cut out, and on the laser, I select the center hole and the outside hole, and I cut it out. And I'm going to show you why. And then I bring it over to the lathe, and I sand off that edge, and I actually sand off the laser backsplash from the light on the grid. And then I do sand the face really good, because then when you put it back in there, so here's a picture of me. I've taken it out of the hole. The tape is not 100% necessary because I'm not going to move it, but the tape kind of helps me remember to take it out and leave that other piece in there. Then I put that piece back in the laser and I engrave it. Then I take that out and I sand that off real good. Then I index it with that same pen. Here's the MDF that's been glued together. So there's 2 layers of 1/4-inch MDF. So I've got almost a 1/2 inch. It's 1/8 inch birch plywood. So I put this on there and I mark it with a pencil, because you could do 2 things. You could glue, the MDF and put it on there, but if you're going to do a cutout, you need to do it this way, and then don't get glue on your cutout, because I do a couple of clocks that have cutouts. So you could glue the MDF and then stick it on there and it's going to work. But when you have a cutout, I did this tonight. Don't pay any attention to this. This is the rubber suction cup to my lathe. But there's my pencil mark, and I'm just going to put glue on the inside. Then I'm going to take all that together, still using the indexing pen, and glue it down. Most glues are going to dry in about 15 minutes. I normally wait a day or a half a day, just to make sure, but you could actually take it off in about 15 minutes because you're not putting any stress back on it. Now, the same thing, if I was going to have one painted through, I'm going to paint this top layer of the MDF so it's going to show through in just a minute. So I'm showing a couple of clocks. There's the clock I just did today for this video. It's for a doctor. There's the clock back. There's actually the hanger that you buy that costs 20 cents. This is the hanger that comes with it. But, you know, for 20 cents, it'd be well worth adding that little hanger. And there's my drawer of clock parts. Like I said, I buy 100 at a time. And when you do that, the shipping's free and they're a lot cheaper. They come in a tray. So I thought, well, I'm going to show a couple clocks I've made, and these are all in that video if you want to look. This is one that I cut out, and actually I glued the MDF and then I sprinkled sand in it. Sand from the beach. So this is a beach seam with Rockport, Texas. I didn't take the time to put in the O's. This is a really neat clock type deal. This is what I call paint, remove paint and put back. So all these pieces were taken out of the clock, painted separately. So this is a blue piece, that's a white piece, that's a blue piece. So this star was 3 pieces. I painted them separate and then painted the letters. Now the only thing, this is a little tricky because you've got to put these pieces of plywood back in. Now some of the hands I buy are black on one side and white on the other, so I use white on this clock. Here's the one where I'm showing, it's really just the MDF that's blue. When I first started making clocks, they come with the minute and the hour hand. You have to buy the second hand. On a clock this size, after a while, a lot of the clocks are going to quit working because it just doesn't have enough power. It's going to waste the battery turning this second hand around, and it's not really necessary. Here's another paint and fill. Came out really good. It was for my dad's Navy reunion. So each one of these pieces was painted individually and then glued back in. And then I thought I'd go ahead and add this last picture when I was out making the clock today. This is my laser shop. There's my laser. But I can sit there and work. See, I'm actually working on another project, and I can watch the laser work. So I'm not really ever leaving the laser. And there's actually a picture of that clock, one of the clocks. I probably made 75 of these clocks. I don't like making multiples of anything, but they're a little bit different and they're fun. On clocks, and clocks are really good money. And I'm just going to show you. Here's my order, and it was with free shipping. So I got 100 of the movements. The hands are free because they come with them. So, and these are the ones I picked out. I started using a straight hand like this one right here. It just seems like it's easier, and you can just take some angle wire cutters and trim them off, and these are the longest ones you can find. But I trim them off just a little bit to make them look a little better. But I buy everything from Clock Kit, and I'm not promoting them. There's a lot of clock companies. This company has been really good for me. I mean, I started out buying 10 at a time, and then I jumped up to 100. And I just recently bought my 5th 100 tray, they call it. So they call it a tray, and I'm using Q80 movement. So this is, if you're going to do a clock like mine with 2 layers of MDF and a layer of plywood, you need a longer shaft. So for $225, so the clock parts are going to cost you $2.25. The MDF, I bet you it doesn't cost me but $2 maximum. You know, probably not even that. The plywood probably costs, less than $1. So for $4, and I sell these clocks, just a normal clock, like this one I just showed you for the doctor. I sell those for $75. So there's $70 profit. I could literally make, and this is even with the extra steps, I could make 10 of those a day. That's $700 profit. Anyway, so look at the videos. I've expanded past my zoom level. So that clock right there I sell for $75. These are like, and a lot of times I'll sell these for $75 to $95 because they don't really take any extra long, just a little bit of layer of paint. so that delays your time because you got to let the paint dry. Anyway, I hope that helped, and thank you for watching.